Kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1717. Back to basics. So how has your Saturday been? Mine's been, very eye-opening for me. We had our mastermind group today, and I got reminded of a few things that I kind of forgotten about. And are there times that you get that the fluff gets in the way of your life, of business, of just everyday things? Fluff gets in the way. What's fluff? All those distractions. This fluff with all the social media and everything on it, and just it's that extra noise that's out there. Do you kind of feel like you're just floating around? You're a piece of fluff and you're just floating around and not really grounded or anchored, and not really anchored, but you are anchored in a way, but just not with an anchor, like tied to a buoy where you can still float around and do everything. And are you grounded or not? Sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about what topic to talk about tonight. And after our mastermind, we had a really great mastermind group today. It was awesome. And afterwards, I had a bunch of stuff that I need to get done around the house. And because I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary in the house, which is kind of cool. One part of that is that I have to do my annual inspection. And you think, oh, annual inspection, well, yeah, just clean up a little bit. Yeah, no. Somebody comes over, walks through. Yeah, no. They don't do that no more. They have an app. Let me tell you about this app. My first encounter with this app was in May of last year, a few days before I moved into my official start date. I had to do it within the first 3 days of taking over the lease, and it took me. I had 72 hours to do this inspection of the house before I'd taken over the lease. I had 72 hours to do the inspection. I did not realize how much time it took me. Most of my daylight hours doing this inspection. It was you have to take your phone. You go to the app. You have and then you pick which room you're gonna start in, and you go into that room, and then it tells you, please stand in this corner, and you got to stand in each corner, and you have to take a photo along one wall, a photo along that wall, and you're taking the photos within the app. So you take the photo, and then you got to wait for it to upload. Then you have to turn the camera around, and you have to take the next photo, and you have to wait for that to upload. The uploads were taking forever. They took forever. And then you got to move to the next corner and take a photo along this wall, and you got to do it in each corner. So that's eight photos just on the walls. Then you have to, but not while, and also then, and so then you've got the walls done. So then you got to go to the next one. It's the ceiling. You got to stand in all four corners and take pictures of the ceiling from all four angles. This is ridiculous. Then you have to go to the floor, and you got to take photos of the floor in all four corners. Then you have to do close-ups of any defects on the walls, on the floor, on the ceiling, that or the doors that have occurred. You have to take pictures of the door. You have to, if you've got windows in the room, you have to take pictures of the blinds down and the blinds up. Is there screens on the window? Do the windows open? Do they, can the windows open? So you got to take a picture with the windows open. You have to take a picture with the windows. You can have up to a minimum of 16 photos per room that you take inside the app, and you have to wait for the app to upload. Okay, I'm in a 3-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms. I also have this den area here. I've got the living area out there, like the living room area out there. Then I have my kitchen, dining, family room out the back there. It takes a while. Let's see, if I spent a whole day doing it, I might get it all done in a day, like in an 8-hour period. I might get it done in that time. But most of it is, it's the frustration of you having to stand there, wait for these photographs to upload. And then you got to make little notes and things, and then it asks you questions, and you got to answer the questions. And it's sort of like, well, I need to put this in there, but there's nowhere for me to put that. Like, what was it I came across? There's something I came across. I needed to put a comment about it, but there was nowhere to put the comments for it. And I'm like, but I found a place to put it. But the weird thing is that you record all of this, and they don't do anything off that inspection. Like if there's like in one area or in one room, and there was this patch about this big where the carpet was bare, like it was, you could see the backing of the carpet from the top, and I took pictures of it. No, they don't do any of that for repair or anything else. You then have to go and log a maintenance call for them to come out and fix it. So not only are you having to do this inspection, you also, if you come across stuff that has to be fixed, you then got to log a maintenance call in a different app. So you got to go to another app, open that up, put in one thing that needs to be fixed, and log that. And then if there's another thing that needs to be fixed, you got to do a separate one. So I have to do that by Wednesday this week. So I was supposed to be doing that today, and my head was just like spinning from today from the mastermind. And I was like, I can't deal with that. Yes, there is some places I have to do some cleanup and all that, and I want to make sure that everything's vacuumed and swept and surfaces wiped down, dust free, and all that sort of stuff. And I was just like, I can't even do that right now. It was just basic stuff. But from one of the things that the 30-day challenge that I did, where I was selling a journal a day for 30 days, one of the things that taught me was getting back to basics. Sometimes we get so caught up in the fluff, like this inspection thing. It's a whole bunch of fluff, but I have to do it. Sometimes there's fluff we actually have to take care of, and other times the fluff is just there as a distraction. And one of the things the 30-day challenge taught me was I have gotten away from doing the basics. And then during the mastermind meeting today, when we were talking about goal setting and goal setting, the simple fact of goal setting. And I'm like, and then I'm thinking, when did I last really set a goal that I really went after? But when I did the 30-day challenge, yes, that was setting a goal, and this was my goal: do 30 days and sell a journal a day. It just got me thinking. And then today, as we were talking, I was reminded about some of the big goals that I have set over the last 10 years, because that's how long I've been with this mastermind group. How many of the big goals, what were the big goals that we set over the last 10 years, and how did I go about accomplishing them, and what did I put in place? And it really got me thinking that there's times that you need to go back to basics. There's times that and especially when you're in business, there's basic stuff you need to do for your business, but sometimes the basic stuff gets pushed aside because all this fluff comes in. Oh, try this, try that. And yes, it's great and it works. Some of it works for a short amount of time. Some of it doesn't work at all, because you turn around and you have the attitude of, oh, I can't do that for my business. No, you have the attitude of, how can I make that work for my business? And so you get caught up in that one. And then somebody else comes along with something else and you go and get caught up in that. Sometimes you just got to say enough and come back to basics. Set your goals. However it is that you set your goals, set your goals. I know that in our mastermind group, we have a specific way of setting goals, and it can accelerate your business growth. And I even said that today, that, one of the things that's taught me is that, going back to basics and just doing that goal setting. And I briefly told the story about my last time I had this big goal setting thing, and and what came out of it. And I was like, I want to get back to that again. I want to get back to being able to do that again with business, not necessarily setting that goal again with business, but setting those big goals and going after them. And there's all this fluff around at the moment, and it's, and fluff is the distractions. It's the outside stuff that comes in and pulls your attention away from what do you want. What is it that you want to do? And sometimes you just got to go stop and come back to basics. Here is my accounting. It is a very simple system. Here is this. Here is that. Da, 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 da. And, sometimes we complicate things for ourselves, because sometimes, business can be very simple at times, and other times that fluff comes in, those distractions. And it could be, a vendor has gone out of business and now you got to find a new vendor, or, and that's a major piece of fluff. That's like dirt on the ground. That's not even fluff. It's not even dust. It's dirt, and you have to move the dirt. So you got to get the broom up and sweep the broom and sweep up the dust. It's really funny because I found a dust bunny earlier. So I've got talking about fluff. Yeah, thinking of fluff rather than distractions. But sometimes you get the dirt on the ground and you actually have to get the broom out and sweep it all up, and then you've got to come in and mop it to make sure you get all the last bits up and all that sort of thing. And when that happens, we get very distracted and we get away from just the basic things, like in a house, just basic housekeeping, putting things away when you're finished using them, cleaning up after yourself as you go. And sometimes things just get away because you get caught up in the fluff. And and for some reason today I got, I didn't have the AC on, but it got very even though it was warm in the house, like it was like 84 degrees outside, it was 73 inside. And I was very comfortable. But sitting here, I started getting cold. I'm like, what the heck? And I have a blanket that's down here on the floor that I can just throw across my knees, and that seems to warm me up if I get these like chilly moments, which is really weird. But I've got a stack of paper, and I've got a stack of paperwork down here, and I'm like trying to pull this blanket up without disturbing the stack of papers. It's a whole bunch of genealogy stuff that's sitting down here. It's things that I have to follow up with on my own personal projects. Client stuff gets put into a book, which is put into a file, because any loose papers, they all go into my filing system. And yes, I still have paper, and they go into a hanging folder in my filing cabinet, and it's all kept very nice and neat and compact. My own, it's a stack on the floor. That really, when I'm doing my own research for my own family, there's paper everywhere. And I had to clean my desk up, so I just picked it all up and put it down there. And so it's sitting there on the floor for me to go through. And it's not a bit, it's just a stack about this big. Yes, of paperwork. But I think there's a notebook tied up in there as well, so that makes up some of the bulk. But I got distracted and sometimes, and even in researching genealogy, go back to basics. Well, when you start a research project, there are certain steps you have to take, and other times you try and jump those steps, and it's like, hang on. We got to go back to basics. We have to verify this information that we already have, that we've been given. We have to verify that information before we can start working on the question that we are starting to work on. Sometimes we try to go and solve the question first, and it's like, hang on, we've been given this information, so let's just start there. Yeah, no, you got to verify the information first. Then you can start your research on whatever it is your question is. Like, is Tom the father of Sally? Or who are the parents of Sally? And sometimes you're like, oh, okay, well, I've got all Sally's information. We'll just plug it in there and away we go. Yeah, no. Let's verify Sally's information first. What information do we already have about Sally? Because sometimes you tend to get caught up in the, I can go do this. Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. In travel, it's trying to, it's like grabbing just one page. Like you sit there and you have a conversation with a client about what they want to do on their travel thing. They want to go down to New Zealand, for example, and they list some of the things that they want to see and do while they're in New Zealand. And you're like, okay, I can do that. But sometimes you forget the basic things, like, when do they want to travel? You forget that. You got to go back to basics. I have a questionnaire. I have a list of questions that I have to go through. Sometimes I forget that I have that list, which makes sure I get all the basic information that I'm going to need, like who is traveling, how many are going, what ages are the people that are traveling. And yes, we do ask age, because there's a very good reason for this. Because if you have, in cases of cruise ships, if the family is traveling together, are there any children under the age of 17 that are traveling? Because there may be a discounted rate for them. Are there people over 55, over the age of 55 traveling? And yes, we will ask, are you over the age of 55? You don't actually have to give your exact, but we do need your birth date. So we do need that information because it's part of the booking process. And so sometimes I can forget to ask the basic question, like, oh, where would you like to go on vacation? And they start talking about that. And I'm like, okay, well, we can work that out. And we totally forget the bit, like, how many people are traveling? What are the ages? Have you got any kids under the age of 17 that are traveling, or under the age of 18 that are traveling? Yeah, oh, okay. Because when you're on cruise ships, you have to have an adult over the age of 21 in the cabin with kids. Yes. And so we try and get them together, get them joining, maybe put them into a suite, put them, have the parents in a balcony, or we'll have the balcony, and then across the road, we've got, across the hallway, there is an inside cabin that may be available. And so we have to be very careful about how we're booking a family unit, and making sure that there's somebody over the age of 21 in each cabin where there's children. So sometimes you've got mum and daughter in one cabin and husband and son in the other cabin, because you can't get, there could be 6 of them traveling. So there's 3, one could be 4, one could be 2. So how do we split it up and that sort of thing? There's all sorts of little things that you got to take care of. And I have a questionnaire that I go through. And sometimes I get caught up in the fluff, and I forget to ask the questions that need to be asked in the order they need to be asked, because I'm like, oh, I've done this 1,000 times. I can do this. Da, 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 da. And sometimes I have to go back and go, oh, by the way, forgot to ask you this, forgot to ask you that. It doesn't look very professional. So I've got my questionnaire. I have to pull it up on the screen. And so when I'm on a Zoom call with my clients, I've got the questions over here and I'm going through those questions. We're recording the call. I do have pen and paper here, but most of the time I just want to have a conversation with the clients, and I've got my list up there and I'm checking the questions off as I go. Have I included these questions in the conversation? And I'm like, we get to the end of the conversation. I'm like, okay, I just need to grab a few more details and then I'll go over the questions that I have missed, like birth dates, ages, are the passports current? What are the expiration dates of their passport? And yes, we do need to know that information too, because when you're traveling, a lot of countries or even the cruise lines will not accept a passport if it expires within 6 months of either the travel date or the return date. So yeah, we have to be aware of that. And some countries you can get away with 3 months flying in, but most of them are 6 months. It's either 6 months from the start of the date of travel or the return date of travel. So we have to ask that information and get that. And if they're not sure, it's sort of like, well, can you please find out that information because I need to know the expiration dates, and this is why. Going back to basics. It's with me right now. This 30-day challenge reminded me I've got to, I have to get more definite on my goals. What is my goal? Break it down and then start working on it and doing it in a sequence. Yes, there are processes and procedures that have to go on. Even somebody who flies by the seat of her pants half the time has to have processes and procedures in place, and they annoy the crap out of me, but I have to do them anyway because it's going back to basics. It's starting that process. It's that process of we're going to be doing this. We're planning this this retreat. These are the steps we have to go through, and this is the order we have to do them in. And you have to do some steps in order because you can't book this one until this one's booked, and you can't do this until this is done. And so you do have to go in it. There is a sequence that you have to go in, which when you're doing travel seems to be fine. I really don't have a problem with going out. I very rarely go out of process, like out of sequence when I'm booking travel, because you have to verify this information first, and then you have to see if there's space available, and you have to do pricing, you have to do a quote, because you can't book anything until you've sent the quote to the client and they'll say, yes, that works for us. And then you can go in and book the thing. So you can't go in and just book and then send the client the quote. You've got to send the client the quote first and then go, and based on their feedback from the quote, do you have to look for something else, or can you go in and book their travel for them? With research, when doing genealogy research, you can't just jump in and do the research. You have to ask, because it's, what am I looking for? Well, here's their family unit, the family unit that of the information that they have, which I need to get up front, because then it gives me the basis to start looking. But the first thing I have to do is verify the information that's there. And then I have to formulate the question, who in specific are they looking for? Is there a particular event that they're looking for? Are they looking to see if they have relatives come from a certain place? Are they looking to see if they're related to somebody famous? We get all sorts of questions through with genealogy and things. So you have to form the question. Once you have formed the question, that then determines how you're going to do the research. You can't just go in and research on, let me just go research their family and see what information I got. Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. So some people, yes, but there are, if you haven't verified the information first, you could end up giving them information on a completely different family that, yes, they have similar names, but they're not actually related. So there are procedures in place to do that as well. And it also helps formulate your research and your logs and everything else. And we do keep logs of the places that we go and the things we visit. And I have the coolest program. And this guy, I'm actually going to might see if I can get him on and do an interview with him one time on the podcast, because this program is amazing. I can go in there. I can put up the name of my project. I open it up and it sits in a little panel down the side of the screen here, which is why I'm trying to find the power cord for that monitor, so then I can put the tracking thingy over on that monitor and just use this monitor type of thing. This is my computer, and over here I have an extra screen. It's sitting on my desk in place. I'm just waiting to find the power cord. I haven't found the power cord for it yet. It's in a box. So yes, I do have to find the power cord for that. But once I find the power cord for that, then I can set them up so I've got the 2 screen thing going. And when I'm doing the research, it's going to be easy for me to put this application on one screen while I work on the other screen, because to me, that one, even though it's only like about this much it takes up on my screen, it distracts me. So I put it over there. And when I put it over there, I put what the project is, what my goal is for that research program. So this is the question I want to ask. This is the question I'm asking, and I need to find the answer to this question. Can I prove it? Can I disprove it? And sometimes we get questions of, we think our family came from Ireland, but they could actually be from Scotland. We're not sure. Okay. So, where did the family come from? Did they come, do we have any ties back to Italy? Had that question come up before? We think we're from Italy, but we're not sure. And I says, have you done a DNA test? And they're like, oh yeah, but that's a lot of European in there as well as a little bit of Italy. And we're not, if we did come from Italy, when did we come over here, and that sort of thing. So it's asking those questions. And with this program, once I get the project in there and what my goal is for that project and the question I need to answer, either prove or disprove, I can put that on this application, and then I can turn it to auto track. And what it does is, as I'm working and researching, it's keeping a track on that thing of every site I go to. And then I can also capture information with this app on different, oh, look, I found the record for this place. Okay, we need to highlight that. I need to put notes next to that link in the log that I found this particular information. And then it has other screens as well, where I can take a couple of different, I can take the tree that I'm creating and pull up other trees that are some of those trees, when you're going through the hints, they have the ancestral trees. Pull up those trees. I can add them to this thing, and it does like a metro map. If you think of the metro maps with the different colors, and each tree is a different color, and I can see where does information overlap and where is there a discrepancy between these trees and my tree, type of thing. So I can see that. I can also pull up maps of areas when they're talking about different towns and things. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff this program does. It is like the most amazing research tool ever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get back in there again, because I love going through this thing. But the other cool part is I can actually open it up and I can have it record, because sometimes I get too many tabs open. So I can actually go into this program and I can say, capture these tabs that I've got open. And like, I will, if I've got like a whole bunch of travel tabs open, I will pull those into one window and put all the travel tabs in one window, and then get this software program to record those tabs in that particular window, the ones I was in, and I need to go back to them and have it record that. If I'm, so I can even pull out stuff for different, like if I'm doing genealogy and I've got a whole bunch of genealogy tabs open for different research and everything else, I can record that window with those tabs open. So like I have my main window that I work in, which has like my email in there. It has the different, the main programs that I use for when I'm working. Just a couple of tools. So it's basically email and tools. And then I open other windows. If I'm working in my Mailbox Power account, I am in there and I have a window open just with my Mailbox Power account and any other links that I need for what work I'm doing in there. Like I'm doing work for a client and they have a mailing list that they need to upload, and that's of course in an Excel. But if what's another one? Yeah, travel. If I have all the travel tabs open, I can get this thing to record that these tabs were open on this particular day, and I can go back to that at any time and go, now, where was that stuff with all the writing stuff that I needed? All the different writing topics. Like sometimes I go and look up writing prompts just to go write. I have an urge to write, but I don't know what I want to write about. And I really don't want to start with It Was a Dark and Stormy Night. So what I do is there's different sites that will have really good writing prompts, and I can then go into those writing prompts and put them all in a window and go through them, and then have this program save it. So how the heck did I get? So when we're researching genealogy, we have to keep our logs. What websites, what sites did we visit? What records did we find or not find? And this is a procedure that you go through. And so you got to have that checklist, and then you have the checklist for travel, and then you have the checklist for this business, and you have the checklist for that business. And like when I'm working in my Printify store, and before the Dirt Nap store, I just put all those lovely coffee mugs. Yeah, for Mother's Day, Teachers Appreciation Week, they're all coming up very, very soon. So when I put that information in, when I'm putting those products in, have I done this step? There's a certain order that you have to do in order to publish the product that you're selling. So there is a process within that program. So it's looking for those processes. Sometimes it's going back, it really is going back to basics. It's getting rid of the fluff. And by getting rid of the fluff, you can now see the steps a little clearer. Like when I was today with the goal setting and stuff, I did that 30 days and now I'm doing another 30-day challenge. I'm still continuing on with what I was doing in the previous 30-day challenge, but we've switched over to coffee mugs. These really cool coffee mugs that go from black to white with a design and reveal a design as the cup heats up. The coolest things. If you want to see the video on that, that's on my YouTube channel. It's also on my Facebook page as well. And it's also on my TikTok account. It's just a short 9-minute and 31-second video because TikTok now allows you to upload a 10-minute video before it starts doing the breaking up videos and things. And so I had 9 minutes and 31 seconds. Yes. But going back to basics, just something as simple as goal setting. Sometimes we get lost in the fluff and we forget to set our goals, and we just have this idea we have these thoughts running around in our head and we don't write them down. Like, this is the stuff I need to do. We keep the to-do list in our head and things slip through the cracks. So getting back to basics, start writing down your to-do list. What is it that I need to do? When do I need to have it done by? What is the expiration? If I've got to do photographs of the inside of the house and the outside before Wednesday. I have to submit all of that by Wednesday. So I can take all week to do it, but I have to have it submitted in full by Wednesday. So that is my deadline for the goal. What do I have to do to be able to take those photographs? There's stuff I have to do. There's, like I said, it's just basic going through my house, doing basic housekeeping, putting stuff away that I don't want to be photographed. Just making sure the place is tidy and clean. Thankfully, I keep it pretty tidy and clean as I go because I'm a person who cleans as I go. I mean, when I'm cooking and baking, my dishes that I'm using at the time, utensils and things, are getting washed as we go. I'm that sort of person in the kitchen. There are times I get out of routine, and at the end of the thing, I look at my kitchen and go, oh, crap, now I got to clean all this up because I forgot to wash as I went. I have done that on some occasions, but usually I clean as I go. Especially if you're waiting for something to heat up, you can quickly, wash off some dishes, put stuff away, wipe down counters that you're not going to be using again. So there's stuff that you can be doing while you're waiting for stuff to cook. If stuff's on cooking and like in the oven, I'm cleaning the kitchen. So when the food comes out, the only things that I have left is whatever the dishes that comes out of the oven, and everything is clean and it's ready to be served and all that sort of thing. So go back to basics. Sometimes and you don't have to stop the whole business and say, okay, we now have to go back to square one and we've got to start like, no, you can start from where you are. So right now for me, I've got to figure out my to-do list because it's all up here where it slips through the cracks. Most of it's up here where it slips through the cracks. Some of it I do have written down. And then as I'm going through each to-do list, work on what is the goal to get that completed? When do I need to have it completed by? And work out the steps that I need to do. And once I've worked all that out, put it in my calendar so it gets done. So I'm actually allocating time and saying, oh yeah, I need to do that. And you get to 4 o'clock in the afternoon where I'm knocking off from the help chat after doing stuff in the morning, working in the afternoon, and now it's 4 o'clock. I've got 2 hours before I get on here to do my live. And I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to have this submitted by tonight. And now I'm in a panic. So yes, or I just sort of like, oh, I don't need to worry about that one right now. So it's when you get a little, and yes, sometimes you do have to be a little organized, and yes, I'm a little loosey-goosey at times and a little fly by the seat of my pants type person, but there is stuff that I get organized with, and when I get those goals and it's a goal I get excited about. See, that's the other thing, is that you got to make the goal exciting. So I am writing goals. I have been writing goals into my gratitude journal as though they are completed. So what is it that I want to do? And I'm going, in my little gratitude journal here, I'll write down, I am full of love and gratitude that I have now completed this particular task or this particular goal. And I'm writing out what the results are from that goal. And, the brain doesn't know. The subconscious does not know the difference between done and not done. It's like looks at it and goes, oh, we've done that. Well, how did we do? And it starts working. It's really crazy how that works. When you start writing stuff down, and yes, you do, and you might have to repeat it 1 or 2 times, but the brain's like, oh, we've done that. What did we do to do that? And all of a sudden, you start working on that, and things start happening because it's already completed. So I can't remember all the science on it. I know I was reading about it like a couple of months ago about goal set, about how when you're writing down affirmations, you write it in the present tense, like it is happening. I don't know if you heard that. She's doing one of her long sighs. When I go to bed at night, one of the things I do is when I get in my spot and I'm comfortable, as and it's something I've been doing for like a couple of months now, is you take a deep breath and you go, ah, and it's amazing that as you're doing that, you kind of just sink into the bed as you're releasing it, and you do it 3 times. She started doing that now. She copies me on that one. Not at night, like she just did now. Like she'll lay down and she'll go, the funniest thing. She is so funny. But yeah, so when you put things in your gratitude journal, write it in there as for future things, instead of writing, I am full of love and gratitude on things that have already happened. Put in things that haven't happened yet, but you are expecting them to happen, with that expectation of they're going to happen. I wrote in there, one of my goals was, I'm full of love and gratitude that I have completed this goal of blah, 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 and write it out. And I'm full of love and gratitude for the results that I got from this goal, which were blah, 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 blah. So write it like it's already happened. With affirmations, write it like it's right here now. I am. Yeah. So, gratitude. I am full of love and gratitude for whatever it is that's happened, even if it may not have actually happened in reality. Put it in as though it's happened. And then your affirmations are, I am. So they are in the present tense. This is you right here, right now. And you can speak that stuff into existence as well. One of the cool goals so they had us setting goals today, and one of my goals was to, get more movement in my day, like getting up out of my chair more. But my goal that I wrote down was that for 5 days a week, that I'm going to be up and dancing for 10 minutes. And somebody said, what sort of dancing are you going to do? I says, whatever I put on whatever I go to Spotify and I put a playlist on, that's good, happy, high vibe music, whatever that is. I'm going to put the timer on for 10 minutes. I'm going to dance for 10 minutes. I said, I will do it for a song right now. I want to extend it. I want to make it a little more of a workout type of thing. And dancing is something I enjoy doing. So why not? One thing Brad and I, we never did it because Brad wouldn't agree. But I wanted to go learn like ballroom dancing. Take dancing classes together. So when we're on cruise ships, and we're on some cruise ships where they have a dance floor in the middle of the dining room, and they might have some like a band playing or something like that, and people get up, and you'd see couples getting up and dancing, and they were like doing like ballroom dancing around the floor and all that sort of stuff. And I said to Brad, I want to learn how to do that, so that next time we are on a cruise ship, we can go do that too. And he's like, like his disbelieving was like, like that's really not going to happen. And I didn't want to go and learn any of that dancing without him. The whole plan was to learn it with him, so we could do it together, instead of me going off and learning how to do it and then not having a dance partner when we get on a cruise ship. So that was my goal behind us going and learning dancing. I wanted to do the goal. He didn't. We never did. So now I just get to dance by myself, which is okay, because now I can put my music on. I can blast. Fortunately, we had the same taste in music, so that wasn't too bad. But I can get up and I can get dancing and stuff. And I would start dancing around the house, and Brad would just look at me and like. But if you're doing housework, that is the best time to have music on. Put the tunes on and dance around as you're vacuuming. I mean, make it a game. That's what makes it so much fun. Is that a lot of times we get caught up, I've got to do housework. I hate doing housework. I will tell you right now. But the way to get me to do housework is put the tunes on. We make a game out of it. How quickly can we get the housework done? Here's my playlist. My playlist is an hour long. How much housework can we get done in an hour? I went out and I weeded down the side of the house yesterday. And I was like, okay, I have 1 hour to get the side yard majorly cleared. Like I wasn't worried about the little weeds that you could actually, you could just go and spray and the weed killer takes care of them. I was more concerned about getting the big weeds out, the ones that I could grab and yank. And it's like, okay, I've got an hour to go and clear this side of the yard. I got it done in 30 minutes because I was like, this is not, I was determined I'm going to get this done in less than an hour. By the time I got done, I was hot, I was sweaty. And fortunately, I was still in the shade and it was still in the 70s. It hadn't gotten up into the 90s at that point, which is where we were going yesterday. And so, but I got it done before I started work that day. You know, first thing I did is after we got back from the walk, as I had breakfast, came in and then came into the office early than I normally do. And I sat down and I got all the stuff I needed to do for my clients that day done. And it was 10 o'clock when I finally went out to the yard, because I knew that was one thing I had to do that day was clear that side yard. And so at 10 o'clock, I got up, I'd done everything. I went into the garage. I got my gardening gloves. I got my little weed thingy, the little claw thingy that you use to, whatever it's called. I have no clue. And I went out and I said to Zephyr, all right, let's go outside. We're going to be outside for about an hour. And I went outside and I just started clearing, and I started at the fence at this end and just worked my way back towards where the edge of the planter boxes that she zooms around in. And I got all of that stuff pulled. The weeds are stacked in 3 separate piles along the house. So I just need to go in there and with the wheelie, and that's going to be tomorrow's job. So I can toss them because we just got to put them into the general trash, and trash pickup is Monday. And so I'll pull the wheelie into the backyard and get that part done and get that stuff into the wheelie so it can get taken away on Monday. I even got into the planter box area and got rid of some of the stuff that was in there, but that's all dirt. And so the plants have got a little more hold there, whereas out in the yard, it's all gravel. So not so much. Some of them have got a pretty good hold, but most of the stuff just came out of the ground. Others, I'm like pulling on them and I literally stripped, and there's like a single stem left there sticking up out of the ground. And most of them are up against the fence for whatever reason. I don't know. But I gave myself an hour to do that. And I was like, can I get this done in less time than an hour? And it took me 30 minutes. And so by that point, it was sort of like, it was getting warm, needed to hydrate because I didn't take any water outside with me. And Zephyr was ready to go back in at that point as well. But she had fun. She would go and lay in the planter box where she could see me, where she could watch me, and she could lay in the sun. And then she'd get up every now and again and come over and check up on me what I was doing. Yes, I'm talking about you. And she'd come over and check up on me to see how I was doing. And then she'd go and sniff all the area I just cleared. And so, yeah, she was my supervisor yesterday. But, I got it done in 30 minutes. So I was very proud of myself for that. And I actually went and did a little more like in her running track area. They grew so much faster in her running track area, I got to tell you. And I don't know what happened, because last year when I moved in, the only weeds I had there was one big one that they came and moved. And then there was stuff in the front yard. But it's like this year in like February, it went nuts. And it's been nuts ever since. It was end of February, beginning of March. And all of a sudden these weeds just went, like, we got a ton of rain, and it's probably that, and a lot of wind, which wouldn't have helped either. So it was setting that goal and getting it done. And tomorrow we're going to go out there and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to set the goal, go out and get it done. Oh, hang on. I think I have a call at 8 o'clock. Oh. Well, I know when that finishes. And I will be getting on FaceTime with the grandkids tomorrow. Yay. And then and yes, the weed killers are pet friendly. There's one that you can get that has it has a base of distilled vinegar. And the idea is, and on the back of the package, it actually states that you spray it first thing in the morning when there is no wind and no rain and the plants are dry. And they actually are dead 24 hours later. It's really cool stuff. And it's all completely pet friendly. When I had the landscaper stop by last Saturday, when he stopped by last Saturday and did my whole front yard, he said, he's got weed killer. I said, is it pet friendly? And he said, yes. He said, but once we spray it, you have to leave it for an hour before you can let the pets out, because it needs to dry. And once it's dry, it's completely pet friendly. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. So I may have him with the amount of, I'm going to see how I do tomorrow. Let's just put it that way. I'm going to see how we do tomorrow. But anyway, so that's it from me for today. Remember, just go back to basics. Sometimes it's just sort of like you get lost in the fluff, and it's sort of like, okay, blow all the fluff out of there, sit down, pull out a piece of paper, write down your to-do list, write down your goals for each item on that to-do list. When are you going to have it done by? Put it in your calendar so you've got your schedule there and you know you have the time to do that activity. And then if it's one that you really don't want to do, find out a way to make it fun. Yeah, like me with housework. Put the music on and dance your way through the housework. I have done that before. And sing at the top of your lungs if you feel so inclined. So if I get on tomorrow and I'm a little hoarse, it's because I've been doing housework and I'm singing at the top of my lungs as I was doing the housework. And I will have headphones on, have my phone in my pocket with my headphones in, and yeah. So the only thing that's going to disturb the neighbors is my singing. Anyway, I'm out of here. I got a dog that needs to go for a walk, and it's like 86 degrees or something. What is it outside? Jeepers, I haven't even looked. It's meant to be up in the 80s today. It's currently 84 degrees outside. And for my metric people, that is 28 degrees Celsius. So we're going to go for our walk, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konera.